Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. Wanted to go ahead and get this video in before I pulled out for the morning and started my day. But today we talked the other day about planning from the standpoint of Mental Health Awareness Month. And so this month I want to take the opportunity to just talk to you about various aspects and various ways for you to get your mind in order, get your life right, and just keep your mental health in order. And so today I want to talk about work-life balance. I know a lot of people don't think that it's really a thing, but it is a thing. I found it and started to practice it a few years ago and have been living in that space of work-life balance for a long time now. Those of you who know me, I'm always somewhere. I'm always busy. And I oftentimes talk about the standard that I set for myself is a lot of times different from what others require of me. But because of the standard that I set for myself, a lot of times it's easy for me to get overwhelmed, to pull myself in one direction or find myself heavily weighted and working harder in one area of my life than another. And then at the end of the day, I always make a joke and tell people that God didn't create me for the kitchen. He created me for the boardroom. And I love business. I eat, sleep, breathe business. It's what I do. And so sometimes because business is my heart, it's my life, I can find myself heavily weighted in that area. I love being a mother. I love being a wife. I love being a sister. All of those roles I love dearly, but my heart is in the boardroom. And because my heart is in the boardroom, it's so easy for me to find myself being pulled in that direction more, to the extent years ago, I used to come home, like literally come home and have work, and I would just go to bed working. Do you hear me? I would be up to 2. Yes, Demetrius, you don't hear me. I was created for business. Like, I be doing the daggone thing. Do you hear me? And so anyway, good morning, Cree. Good morning to all you beautiful people this morning. And so literally I would be sitting in the bed at 2 a.m. trying to finish up a project that the deadline was, I still had 3 days to meet the deadline, but I hate in business. I'll procrastinate in anything, but in business, I hate procrastination. Like, I want my stuff to be on point. I want it to be done before the deadline, all of that. Right. And so because of that, I found myself more heavily weighted in the business area. And as a result, I'm just going to be real with y'all, my home life was lacking to the extent my daughter would be like, Mama, is this going to be a work night again? Like, she started to ask me. And at the end of the day, I had to decide, okay, you know what? I love my family. And those of you who met my daughter, my husband, I love my family. And I talk about being more heavily weighted in the business area, but to the extent I still was doing what I needed to do at home. I wasn't neglecting home. It was just that, I'm cooking and trying to work at the same time. Okay. Or, my husband waiting up for me and I'm like, okay, baby, give me 5 more minutes. Do what I got to do and get right back on the computer. You understand what I'm saying? So it has my heart. I mean, it still has my heart, but I've learned balance. So how do you practice balance in life and work? You just got to cut it off, right? You got to set deadlines. And so a young lady the other day, she said, I noticed that you stay a little later, trying to get stuff done or whatever. And she was asking me all these questions. And I said, so the thing that I've learned is I have to say a set time that I'm going to go home. One of the things that I do is I say, okay, Kisha, you will not stay longer than 6 o'clock at the office. You just will not. I don't care if I'm not finished. I don't care if I have other things. I actually leave work even though I'm not done. And so what I'll do is when I get home, I know in my head, okay, Kisha, you have 2 hours to work on work stuff, or an hour and a half, whatever yours may be. Mine is 2 hours. So I know, okay, Kisha, you have 2 hours that you can commit to at home to do this assignment. At the end of it all, I also have a workspace. I don't take anything else in this workspace. The only thing that I'm allowed to do in this space that I've set up for work is work. And when I turn off work, I close my laptop, leave it right there in my workspace. It does not go into my bedroom anymore. I do have a laptop in my bedroom, but if I'm on it, it's because I'm writing. It's because I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm writing. So it's my creative worktop as I've allocated it to be. And so it's the laptop that I use to write, or the laptop I use to just be me, to release, to journal on. So I journal on my Word document. I don't write a whole lot in my journal anymore. I actually type up my journals. So for better able to search for them when I'm looking for specific things when I'm writing a book. And so that's one of the keys that I do. I turn off. I have a specific time that I'm allowed to work in the office until. It doesn't mean that when I get home, I can't work. But if I do take work home, I have 2 hours allocated for work, even on a Saturday. So on a Saturday, the same 2-hour rule apply. On Saturdays, I may have 1,000 things that I need to get done, but I always say, okay, Kisha, it can wait. That's why you've established deadlines. And that's another thing. I establish deadlines and I actually think through those deadlines before establishing them so that that work doesn't bleed over because I gave someone an unrealistic deadline. And now I'm at home working my tail off, spinning my wheels, going crazy because I told you something that should have taken 3 weeks. I told you that I can do it in a week and a half because I am an overachiever. I'm just going to be real with y'all. I am an overachiever. I own that thing, right? Y'all can hate on it if you want to. You can be crazy about it. But somebody told me that years ago in my office. She said, Kisha, you know what? You are an overachiever and you always got to win. And I said, you know what? And at first I was offended by it. I'm like, you know what? Okay, that's kind of rude, but whatever, get your life. But at the end of the day, I took ownership of that. I am an overachiever. I love excellence. I love doing things well. And so at the end of the day, you have to set rules and parameters by which you will operate in order to achieve work-life balance. Same thing with going to work from home to work. You cannot take your personal life to your work. While a lot of it bleeds over, what you don't get to do is cuss at your husband in the morning and get to the office, and then now you're trying to cuss at your coworkers. If you have to, sit in your car for a minute and wipe all that extra stuff that you take into work, get rid of it. If you have to sit through there and reflect and talk through that thing in the car, if you got a journal, whatever you have to do, you have to start to draw those lines between work and home. Same difference with taking business issues to the house. Your husband or wife don't always want to hear about how your boss was in your face or how somebody disrespected you. You need to find a friend. You need to find a business friend that you relate that stuff to. Somebody that you relate to in business. Your husband or your wife does not always want to hear that, and they don't want to carry that weight. So now they looking at your job like you got to get up out of there because it's straining me, it's stressing me, and all you trying to do is vent and get it off your chest. So to achieve work-life balance, sometimes you got to find your people outside of work and home that you relate to. So if you have business stuff that you're dealing with, you got to have that good girlfriend or guy friend that you call up and be like, hey, Susie, check this out. Like, this chick is tripping over here. Like, I don't even know what's happening. Let me tell you what she did. And she can give you from a business perspective. You guys can relate on that perspective and she can help you to sort through that versus going home. And now you taking business stuff home and your husband, who's not in the business mindset, is going left because now he taking it personal because he didn't put it in a business compartment. Do you understand what I'm saying? Same thing with your home life. Keep your home life at home. Don't be telling people at work all the stuff that's going on at your house, because it causes them to have a different perspective of you. And that junk, as you transition it over, it affects your relationship with your coworkers. Because I used to work with a lady who every day she would come to work and be like, well, Stan did this. Well, Stan did that. Stan is getting, you know what, I'm leaving Stan today. At the end of the day, I don't care about you nor Stan and all y'all extra stuff because now it's starting to drain me in my place of work where I need clarity and focus. So at the end of the day, we have to draw the lines between home and work. I know it's very hard to do because we spend most of our work life at work, but on some level, you have to draw those lines because guess what? A lot of people have learned how to separate it while you still up there bringing your home life to work. Other people looking at you like, girl, bye. I don't even care. And now they start to draw those lines in the relationship that they have with you. So I want to challenge you guys. When we talk about work-life balance, a lot of time management goes into that. And I won't even say just time management, but priority management, because a lot of people, we've learned how to book up spaces of time. And so then what happens, you've blocked out these spaces of time and you're still not productive. You just got a whole bunch of tasks or activities because you've learned how to plan. You've learned how to manage your time, but you haven't still yet learned how to prioritize. You have to know what's a 3 and what's a 10. Oftentimes at the office, I tell people, you making this a 10 when it's really about a good 4. So let's figure out where we can meet somewhere in between there, because for me, it's not a 10. So let's bring it down just a little bit so that we can actually have a clear, objective discussion and we're not in our feelings. And that's a big piece of finding work-life balance is being objective. It's so easy to get caught up in your feelings because, y'all, let's be real about it. Feelings are a lot of who we are. The emotional side of us is a lot of who we are. And y'all got to forgive me because I'm kind of congested and I'm stuffy. I'm trying to breathe and talk at the same time. And one capacity pulling on the other. y'all, it's a mess over here. This weather change has got me all screwed up. But anyway, guys, please hear me on today. To achieve work-life balance, you have to set boundaries. You have to get clear on your end. You got to know what your destination is so that you don't take on a whole bunch of stuff, because a lot of times at work or at home, we take on things that have nothing to do with us, that have nothing to do with where we're going, that have nothing to do with our vision. And so then we take it on all these things. And so we find ourselves putting tasks behind all these things that we've taken on that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. So you need to have clarity of vision, a clear destination, an end point that you want to achieve, even in your home life. Where is your family going? What is your family's mission and vision? What is your be all end all? Begin with the end in mind. I live by that, so that way everything in your life, when you are building your priority list for your life, you know specifically what things fall into there. And you know that and I'm just going to be real. Can I be real with y'all for a minute? Sometimes you have to even assess, you know what, my friend game right now is not that serious. So for me, I tell all those that I'm friends with, I say, you know what, right now, it's really not that important for me to be hanging out and going for drinks. While I value my friends and I love them, right now, I don't have a lot of time to talk on the phone. And I'm very upfront about that. Right now, that compartment of friendship is not a priority for me right now at this point in my life. And so I have to be real about that. While, 2 years ago, I may have been on the friend thing, killing it like crazy. At this point, it's not a priority for me. So I can manage my time and put a block in there to go have lunch with my friends, but it's not a priority for me. And so thank you, Tiba. I appreciate that. I so need it. So anyway, at the end of it all, if you want to get your mind right and you want to live with mental clarity, you have to learn balance. And balance comes with boundaries. If you don't have boundaries and you don't have priorities in your life, guess what? You will be all willy-nilly going to the left, going to the right. Even in your business life, this is why, and I talk a lot about you and your team's planning. This is why it is critical that even in your departments or even in your business, rather, with your team, wherever you and your team are working, whether it's in the business sector or in your organization as a whole, in your department, whatever it may be, even in that wise, it's important that within the organizational vision and mission, that your specific department, that you have a vision and a mission statement for your department. So you know specifically within the realm of this big, massive vision and mission, this is where we fit, okay? Because a lot of times you will see your department scrambling like rats all over the place and everybody's stressed out because you ain't in your lane. You're not prioritizing based upon your role within the vision. You trying to carry the whole vision, and your department is supposed to have focus. And this is why planning and prioritization is a very real thing. And so with that being said, even in your home life, again, do the same thing with your family. You guys have to decide what's important for your family. I really encourage you guys at least monthly to sit down and check and do some checks and balances with your family. A lot of times as family, we neglect to do the things that we need to do because we're not communicating. We're not checking in. And communication is a major part of mental health. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that on next week. I'm going to talk about communication on next week as a form of preserving your mental health. Y'all, we got to keep our mind right, not get it right. We got to keep that thing right, because when we were created with the proper capacities that we needed to function in this life. And so what happens is we allow life, stuff that ain't got nothing to do with nothing, ain't got nothing to do with us. And later in the month, I'll even talk a little bit about the role that people play in pulling you outside of your mental health. And so it's great that your husband waits for you. Timothy, let me tell you, I've been married 18 years, a lot of ups and downs, mess and mishaps. Do you hear me? But when I tell you we've learned how to communicate, and at the end of the day, and we'll talk about this from a team standpoint as well. You got to know who on your team. You got to know what the people on your team value. For me to give up business, it's like asking me to give up myself, right? And so every time you challenge me in an area that's important to me, and I have to choose, you putting yourself in a bad situation. So it's in your best interest to look at people for who they are and what they value and say, you know what? Okay, she loves this or he loves that. Let me see how I can work this in so that they have fulfillment in all that they do, so that they have fulfillment in this relationship, so that they have fulfillment on this team. That's a big part of work-life balance. You have to allow people to be themselves. You have to allow, and we'll talk about that in later videos. And I'm going to get out of here because my throat is all dry. I'm stuffy. And y'all, it's a thing. So with that being said, I want to encourage you guys, and I'm going to give you a couple of quick tips and assignments that you can do to do this. This morning, I'm going to encourage you guys to get clear on your intended destination for your business and get clear and your intended destination for your life, okay? You got to be clear on that first and foremost. Then I want you to look at everything that you're currently doing in each one of those areas, because I'm going to be real with y'all. A lot of times we dissatisfied and we unhappy and we miserable because of ourselves, right? We're unhappy and we're miserable because maybe in your work life or in your business life, you pursuing something that ain't got nothing to do with the vision. So now you finding yourself, because the money is good over here, you running in that specific area, and now you find yourself discontent. So now you start to lean heavily more in your life area, okay? So now over here in your life area, you're requiring more of your friends, you're requiring more of your husband, of your wife, of your children, because you're miserable in your work life. So now you over here pulling on them things and trying to make them fulfill you. And at the end of the day, that's not their job. So now they miserable, y'all fighting and bumping heads because you looking for something over here that you really need to be getting over here in your work life. So at the end of the day, you guys have to be clear on your mission and your vision in your life and in your work. Then you have to sit down and say, okay, this is everything that I'm doing. This ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Start going through that list and saying, this ain't got nothing to do with nothing. I need to get rid of this. This ain't got nothing to do with nothing. I need to get rid of that. Oh my God, this is good. I need to keep this on the list. Oh my God, I need I know I need more of this. And you have to look at that list and finalize it and then say, okay, what's number one, or what's priority A? What's priority B? So you know this is going to take 40% of me. This is only going to take 10% of me. I should never give more than about 5% to this. And you can start to allocate your time accordingly. And that way you will achieve balance. Guess what? Again, let me say this one more time for those who didn't hear me. You will never find balance without boundaries. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the hearts. The reason that you don't have balance is because you don't have boundaries. Say it with me. Boundaries. Boundaries are good. Boundaries are your friend. People may be extra because you've never set them for. They're going to try to check you when you try to set boundaries if you've been all willy-nilly, right? When you first put it out there, they're going to be like, hold up, you tripping. You never told me this before. You ain't never required this of me before. Where is this coming from? But guess what? At the end of the day, I'd rather you do it now than never. I'd rather see you do it now and get the balance that you so deserve than never to do it at all. You got to start telling people another part of that. And I'll share a video that I did at another time, giving you 10 specific keys and ways that you can set boundaries. Another way that you can do that, a big thing that I do is after 8 o'clock, I do not answer business calls. I'm just going to put it out there so you know. After 8 o'clock, I do not respond to business calls. I may look at it to make sure it's not an emergency, but this goes back to knowing what is a priority, what's an emergency, and what is not. And so I might look at it just to make sure, okay, this can wait till tomorrow, and then I'll mark it back as unread, or I'll listen to the voicemail and say, okay, you know what, this can wait till tomorrow. Because guess what? If you start answering at 10 and 12 and 1, guess what's going to happen? They're going to keep calling you at 10 and 12 and 1, and you will never have balance. So at the end of the day, what I always tell people, it's not that I'm going to neglect things. I will respond accordingly. I will check to make sure it's not an emergency, but I will not always be on call because that's not my life. I want to be available for my family as they need me, whether it's my sisters, my friends, my mother, whoever it is. I want to be available for them. And I can't do that if my if my work consumes my life. And so with that being said, y'all, I got to go. I got to get on this road, y'all, because I got things I got to do out here in this world. I got lives I got to impact. I got lives I got to speak into and patterns I got to disrupt. And I can't do that if I'm sitting here on this Facebook Live with y'all. So with that being said, y'all, well, I can do that because I'm doing it for you. So with that being said, y'all, I got to go. And so remember, as your soul prospers, so shall you prosper in life and in health. Get your soul right, and you will see everything else in life line up with it, including your mind. So with that, y'all have an absolutely amazing Friday. Do something crazy, okay? Do something crazy for yourself on today. Love on somebody. Love yourself first so that you can express that natural expression of love into the world. God bless you, Charlotte. Bless you, bless you, bless you. I pray that each and every one of you has an exceptional, mind-blowing day filled with God's love and his peace. And I just wish above all else that you will find balance, right? Because it's hard. Life is hard enough as it is. You don't need to add extra to it. So stay tuned this month. I'm going to work to do it on Monday and Friday, give you guys a couple of mental health tips and tricks. Get your mind right, y'all. We got to get our life together out here. And so, LaShonda, I didn't even wrap up 2 times today. This is my second wrap up, and then I'm going to be gone, LaShonda. You came on here trying to make me go to 3, but I'm not doing it. This is my second and final wrap up. And so with that being said, y'all, be blessed and have a God-filled day. I'll talk to you guys, and remember, you are a spirit being. So it's in your best interest to figure out how to allow your spirit to also show up at work, to also show up in your marriage and your relationships, because all too often we spend so much time in turmoil because we're trying to take this spiritual being and make it all natural. A major part of who I am is a spirit being. So this spiritual piece of me has to be present as well as the natural me. And so every time you try to kill the spiritual part of me, you kill a major part of me, and it causes me to be miserable in life. And when you understand that, you will allow yourself to just be 100% totally who you are, authentically, unapologetically, and tell people to get out of my face. I'm doing me, okay? Anyway, y'all have a good one. Be blessed, guys.